Welcome to White Shoulders, Boar, Goats, and Farmstead. This is part 2. Good morning, it's Thursday. This is part 2 of the horses get a tank heater video. And I need to explain a little bit more of my reasoning of why I used the products that I used. Randy brought this to my attention. He says that I don't explain a lot of things of why I do some of the things that I do, and I'd like to apologize for doing that. I do things and I just don't think about doing them. I don't think about what I'm actually doing. I just do it. But I'd like to explain now why I used the cord I used and the tank heater and all that. Okay, so the tank heater, it's a 1500 watt submersible tank heater, and a 1500 watt tank heater pulls about 12.5 amps. And I know this because my husband was an electrician in the Air Force. So when it comes to electrical stuff, I have a greater knowledge than a lot of people because I lived with that. When you have, oh, here's something funny, not to change the subject, but you see this little hole in the hay pile that I didn't get picked up yesterday. Pip made him a bed right there last night, evidently. And of course the hay net has been pulled back over again. Anyway, it's never a dull moment. Okay, I wanted, when I went to buy the extension cord, I wanted a 10 gauge cord, but they didn't have any. And if you know what it's like to go and buy stuff and they just don't have what you're looking for, well, that's the reason. A 10 gauge would have, the bigger cord actually has a smaller number, and the bigger cord is actually better when you have something that's pulling so many amps off of it. This cord, this is a 12 gauge cord. It's rated for up to 15 amps. So I'm safe, although I would have rather had the bigger cord because you can use it for other things other than tank heaters. So that's a little bit of the reason why I got the cord that I got. And yes, I'm talking with my hands because I do that. And because Harbor Freight didn't have what I wanted, this particular cord was $85. I left a link in the description of part 1 of all the stuff that I used, including the duct tape. But anyway, I plugged this in yesterday evening. I'm filling up the tank now. It thawed it out where the water level was, so they had water. But anyway, when you're not supposed to actually use an extension cord for your tank heater, but if you happen to have to do that, make sure that you have one that is rated for the amps that the tank heater is going to pull. It will save you a lot of headache later. If you plug one in and you don't know, feel the cord, because if it's hot, you better unplug it because you're going to have a fire. I covered up, this had a 3-hole, 3 places to plug stuff in. And I actually covered up 2 of them because they're not going to get used. And I didn't want any moisture or water or ice getting in those because it can cause your breakers to pop. So anyway, when I did plug this one in, I made sure I taped it good so that nothing can get in it. And you'll notice that it's kind of like pushed down. And that also is another way to keep the water out. Water and electricity does not mix. Most people do realize that. Now the pipe that I put in, it is actually angled to the far end so that if it gets water in it, it's not going to hold it. It'll just run out. But my water's almost full. I can't believe how fast that filled up. It is cold. And I'd also like to say that if you want to know what it is that I'm doing or why I have done something, please do not feel like you cannot ask that question, because I will answer. I answer all of the comments. Sometimes I actually answer the comments. Sometimes I put a thumbs up. But if you want to know something, just ask. I would be happy to let somebody know why I did something, how I did it, how I went about it. The other thing that I wanted to say was, of course, this pin, I told you guys yesterday that there's nothing in here. Had there have been something in here, I would have had to done something different with the cord, because goats chew on stuff. Young goats are worse than older goats, but if they're bored, they'll just chew on it. So you'll see here, there's a hole in the barn. And this is tin. So we use an old piece of hose to keep it from cutting the cords that get pulled out through here. Because this used to be where our horses were. And I would just plug directly into the outlet. Of course, I always had to do interesting things to it because the horse was always in it. I tried to pull it out. I've got several chewed up cords. But anyway, that's the reason why there is a piece of rubber hose in that hole. I forget what they call that whenever they put that in there, but it keeps the cord from getting cut and showing bare wires. So the part I didn't show you yesterday was where I plug this in at. And these two think I'm gonna feed them. I'm not. I've already fed them. They had their early breakfast. So I don't get mauled, I'm not gonna go in here. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Okay, so underneath there is where the cord is plugged in for the heater outside. And the reason why that board is up there is because I never finished this wall, and I wanted to make sure that the kids didn't get their feet in it and unplug it. Right now they don't pay no attention to what's going on in the cord, so I just wanted to share that. But that's where I plug it in at. Thank you for watching, and I hope that answered some questions about part 1 of this video. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share with your friends. Happy New Year!